When I think about what Blackness is, it's often positioned as otherwise or atavistic or this is not civilized. Here, we see them embracing that, using indigenous ways of thinking and being to kind of cohere community. And I can't put any other word on that other than Black. It's like, okay, this models for me how Blackness can transform space, cohere community. And yeah, I really do feel like every Black person should watch it.
This theme of resistance runs through it. And I do think resistance is very Black.
Young Junk! Hey, welcome to the Micheaux Mission. 2 men, 1 podcast, every Black film ever made. My name is Len, a.k.a. the Bat Tribble. And as always, I'm joined by my partner.
Hey, this is Vincent Williams.
Tonight, folks, we have a treat for you.
Indeed.
As we are going to be, getting our international Black on tonight. As we have very special guest, Darren Wallace, the host of Push Black's Black History Year podcast. I know a little bit of something about that podcast.
I hear you're affiliated.
Yes, we'll talk about that later. Darren Wallace is going to be joining us live here in studio to review from 2019 Bacurau, a eerie Western Afro-Brazilian horror thriller type of movie.
Tinge of Afrofuturism.
Afrofuturism, political intrigue.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It is all baked into this film that Darren has brought to the mission for us to review tonight. And we're greatly looking forward to that as we are streaming live from Young Junk, Philadelphia's premier video podcast palace, to Instagram as well as to YouTube, where each and every one of you are out there watching us as we stream live in the chat. Hello, missionaries.
Good evening, one and all.
Vincent, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well.
Yeah?
Warmed up a little bit. And
It did. It warmed up to a balmy 40 degrees.
a balmy 40-degree day.
This weekend.
And with all due respect to Stringer Bell, I have actually been talking about this 40-degree day all day because it's been 20 degrees.
That's very true.
So yeah.
Very true.
Yeah. And yourself?
I'm doing good. I had a small get-together at my house this past weekend, and you came.
I did.
I was very, very excited for you to come. It was a good time. But it has opened the door for me to ask you a question. I'm asking you in real time.
Of course you are.
Because, look, we do this live.
Sure.
All right? Because at this get-together, it was my very first time in a long time, probably at least 10 years, making macaroni and cheese.
Yes.
So, Vincent,
yes.
I was paying attention to you.
Yes.
And you put some macaroni and cheese on your plate.
I did have the macaroni and cheese.
And I noticed that it left your plate.
I ate my portion.
Yes, you did. Did you enjoy your portion of it?
Wasn't bad.
Okay.
Wasn't bad.
All right. Well, thank you.
There you go.
That's all I needed.
Right. It would have been awkward if I'd have said, well, you saw the plate empty. You didn't see me eat it.
It would have been awkward, but I would have appreciated it.
You would have appreciated it, yeah.
Yes.
But no, it wasn't bad.
No, well, thank you.
All right.
Thank you. I was proud of it.
You should have been.
It took me 3 hours.
I mean, macaroni and cheese is not a game.
It's not a...
No, it isn't.
I have learned that it is not a game because I told my sisters that I was going to be making macaroni and cheese.
Sure.
And they were like, you're what? Is there a new macaroni and cheese cereal we don't know about? I was like, no, I'm making macaroni and cheese.
Ah, sisters.
Yes. But anyway, but that was a good time. And now we're going to have a good time with each and every one of you. That means your emails, or as we like to call them,
missives from the missionaries. So what else is going on, Lynn?
We have emails, Vincent.
Ooh, missives from the missionaries. Ooh. Missives from the missionaries.
Vincent, we have an email from Corey Nicole.
Hey, what's up, Corey?
Good evening, Len, Vincent, and missionaries. At the time of this writing, I am listening to Rotary Connection.
Oh, nice.
And one of my favorite songs by them, Memory Band.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this, but Len geeking out at simple things is really cute. He is a handsome man.
There you go.
Well, thank you. Last week, you both were building a curriculum for Black movies to show high school students. I now want to ask the two of you, what movies do all Black men of all ages should see in their lifetime?
All Black men of all ages.
Yes. All Black men.
All of them.
All of you. A follow-up question. So take note. Keep track of these questions, Dylan. So she wants to know, what movies do all Black men of all ages should they see in their lifetime? The follow-up question is, which of these movies will resonate for years to come?
Okay.
I know you both are elder statesmen and older Black men. This letter's taking a turn. Plus, you saw an experience.
Well, when I was on a Freedom Rods, me and Dr. King, see, this because you always watching these segregation movies. She thinks I'm sitting over there with you. Right.
Just because they're pre the March on Washington doesn't mean they're segregation movies. Anyway, Corey continues. He made me lose my space. She says, I know you both are elder statesmen and older Black men, plus saw and experienced some things.
How old do you think we are, Courtney?
If she heard the conversation before the cameras went on, she know exactly how old we were. I am a Black woman, so we have films like Set It Off, Waiting to Exhale, Miss Juneteenth, so on and so forth. But I do have a couple of suggestions for you to chime in on and come up with other films. First of all, I challenge you a little bit. While I believe that every Black woman would do themselves a great service if they watch Miss Juneteenth, I would bet that most Black women are not aware of that film.
Sure.
Because it's a very smaller independent film. Didn't get a whole lot of distribution. But it is an excellent movie. Excellent movie.
Very good film.
All right. So here are her suggestions for our...
For all Black men.
For all Black men.
All the Black men.
All right.
Gonna have a million Micheaux march.
There you go. Yes. On our Micheaux on Washington, this is so Last Man of San Francisco.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Coolie High.
Oh, yeah, good one.
Get on the Bus.
Yeah, Get on the Bus.
That's a good one.
Sure.
He Got Game.
Yeah. I like He Got Game.
Sing Sing, which I haven't seen yet.
I still haven't seen Sing Sing. Yeah.
More Better Blues.
Mo Better, make it Mo Better.
This movie is left field, but she suggests the original White Men Can't Jump.
Oh, I think it's so cute that she said the original White Men Can't Jump, as if anyone acknowledges the existence of the remake 30 seconds after they released it straight to...
It went straight to streaming, and it may be some people's jam.
Sure.
To be fair. And then the last one she references is South Central.
South Central
is a good one.
Yeah.
I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. Have a great rest of the week and can't wait to listen to the new episode. Corey Nicole.
Thank you, Corey.
Those are all good movies.
Those are all good. Want to do like two each?
Sure.
You
got one on your top of your dome already?
Top of my dome. I'm going to say Nothing But a Man.
Man, why you all up in my pocket?
I know. That's why I was going to pick that real quick before you got to it.
You all up in my pocket. Yeah, nothing but a man.
Yeah, Nothing But a Man.
That is a good one. I will say,
And then I'm going to say A Soldier's Story.
A Soldier's Story.
A Soldier's Story. So those are my two.
I will say a movie that I know a lot of black men find challenging to watch, and a reason why they haven't watched it, but I think that they should push themselves
I
to
know
watch
what you're going to say.
Moonlight.
Absolutely, 100%.
They should see Moonlight.
I have pleaded with men I know to watch Moonlight.
And they just won't, right?
Yeah.
Because they can't get past.
Right. Gay men are icky.
Right.
Yeah.
It ain't about that, man.
Yeah.
Every man should see.
Yeah, I
see
love Moonlight.
And then a second one. Wow. A second one that all black men should see.
Little Man with the Wayans brothers.
You know, that's probably that. That's on my short list.
On your short list. I see what you did there.
I would say no. I'm going to go. I don't know. Wow. You know what? Hell, Love Jones.
Love Jones.
Love Jones.
There you go.
There you go.
Those are good ones.
There you go. So
all the black men,
every black man,
y'all go and watch all of those movies.
Right.
We've named.
We'll have to check when Darren comes onto the show, see if he has seen all of these.
All of them, right.
Because if he hasn't, he'll have to leave.
Right, exactly. Or we'll talk about it at the meeting that we all have.
Exactly. All right, but thank you, Corey Nicole, for your email.
Thank you.
We got another email, Vincent. This is from Michael Lockett.
What's up, Michael?
The subject matter is Miracle My Ass.
Oh.
What's up, my brothers? I hope the week has treated you both well. Before I get into any movie talk, my son, who listens and watches the show with me every once in a while, asked me to share this snippet of a conversation that we had.
Okay.
Son, Dad, these two act like you. Michael, well, they're a tad older, but yeah, we grew up black in the same time. Son, that one guy laughs like Dr. Hibbert. Vincent.
Yeah.
Michael, yeah, he do, but I'll take that all day, every day over the Eddie Murphy snort. Now, neither of us can watch The Simpsons without thinking about the Micheaux Mission. Well, that's nice.
I'll take that.
That's nice. It's nice. And I think we are landing on that we are older than our audience.
Apparently.
Like Vince, this was my first time watching Miracle at St. Anna. I am so glad I avoided this all these years. I think The Five Bloods is the only war movie Spike should have done. This outing was someone trying to be precious with the source material and not make a great movie. The A, B, and C stories are all muted and mushed together. Although the source material was good, I find it more compelling read the book Half American, the epic story of African Americans fighting World War II at home and abroad by Matthew Delmont. On my time travels, I'd roll with you two back to your critique of Cadillac Records. It's a fun movie.
Well, all the way up until the moment it isn't.
That's very true. That's true. Kind of like the previously mentioned Spike Lee joint, Cadillac Records was a dish that was over-seasoned. There were so many things in the pot that you can't get that one good flavor. I agree with my fellow missionary that there are basically no black female action heroes and stories for damn near a generation. We have some very powerful young actors like Amanda Stenberg, Yara Shahidi, and Sky Jackson, whom an action franchise could be built around. Those are all very strong choices. Finally, on defining the 90s with songs, I like your choices, but would replace them all, and then you didn't really like them.
He had notes.
I like your choices, but fuck your choices. I like your choices, but would replace them all with Return of the Mac by Mark Morrison, Real Love by Mary J. Blige,
Yeah.
and Check the Rhyme by A Tribe Called Quest. If you two were going to pick 2 or 3 black films that define the 90s, what would those be? All the best, Michael. Fuck your children. Anyway, I would say
I mean, Boys in the Hood.
that's 80s. Isn't that?
Is it 8? So if Do the Right Thing is
I think
89.
I think Dylan said 91. Oh, I think it's 91.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I was going to say Friday.
Yeah, but Friday is really a Boys in the Hood riff.
Yeah, but
Like you got to go to the source material.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I would say Friday.
I would-
Okay, I see they put it up there. Boys in the Hood
Yeah, I
is
would say
91.
Boys in the Hood and maybe Waiting to Exhale.
Oh yeah, Waiting to Exhale.
Like either Waiting to Exhale. Like I'm thinking about movies that they just kept making versions of them.
Well, then you could go Love Jones. Because Love Jones started a genre.
I don't know if Love Jones started a genre or if it was just, because it's just a rom-com. Not a rom-com. It's just a black rom-com. But whereas Boys in the Hood is a hood movie, which was just a brand new invention. And then like Waiting to Exhale was black female friendships, which was a brand new thing. Like it's not even like that was a black version of something. Like this just never even existed before.
I don't know. To me, I think you do Love Jones a little bit of a disservice by just categorizing as just another rom-com. Because I don't think it was just another rom-com.
I think it was an amazingly well done one, but it's boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy gets girl back.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think they then spent the rest of the 90s trying to find the secret sauce that made that movie work.
Oh, I agree.
And they didn't. But therefore it then did become like a defining film for the 90s. In fashion,
I also don't know.
In vibe and soundtrack and music.
I think there's a certain sub-demographic of black people that loved Love Jones. But I don't know if it was as far-reaching as Boys in the Hood or, and I'm going back and forth between Waiting to Exhale and Soul Food. Because I think both of them sort of generated all of these like I think you had to be I think Love Jones hits you at a certain time in a certain place.
Mm-hmm.
Like your mom didn't really vibe with Love Jones, nor did your like 12-year-old nephew.
Okay.
But like all demographics knew
Soul Food.
It got hit by Soul Food and by Boys in the Hood. Like it kind of hit them. Like preachers were preaching about Boys in the Hood, and then the 12-year-old was sneaking to watch it. And then it was all these, it was like older girlfriends, younger girlfriends, hood girlfriends, bougie girlfriends. Like it was always these four women.
Okay. I think your argument as far as Soul Food is a strong one,
right?
Because I was actually thinking about Soul Food, because of how much it encompasses, and it is the black family, and which is why it
and we talk about
out.
Like since then they make these movies, it's always like the food porn scene in the big table, and everybody passing around cornbread, and then somebody's doing the electric slide.
Well, that's more Tyler Perry.
That's not just Tyler Perry, and Tyler.
It's the electric slide. I don't think the electric slide is in Soul Food.
It's not the electric slide, but it's the group dance at the wedding at the beginning.
Okay.
And then all them versions of it, it's a Soul Train line, or the Cupid. Like it's always, we're a very rhythmic people,
okay,
so we like to dance.
As you rhythmically move your hands.
Rhythmically.
But no, I get that. But you're also making my point about how people would start, aping Soul Food. I think. Look, let's put it this way.
I would exchange.
If we're defined in the 90s, Boys in the Hood, Love Jones, Soul Food. That's three films, and you've got the whole demographic.
Okay,
you got the whole world in your hand.
I think you're blinded by your Nia Longness with the reach of Love Jones, but okay, we're gonna keep it moving.
That's not true because Nia Long's is Soul Food, so I could just live there.
Yeah, but you don't like her in soul food because she's sketchy.
Yeah, I know. She is.
She's low-key sketchy in Love Jones, too.
She is. She is. But
She's actually sketchy in a lot of movies. You just love Nia Long.
yes.
Like, she's low-key sketchy in Brown Sugar.
In Brown Sugar.
Yes.
Nia Long is not in Brown Sugar. You're thinking about
Oh, I'm sorry. Where she's sketchy in The Best Man.
The Best Man.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah. She's shady in a lot of stuff. She's just Nia Long.
She's not shady in The Best Man. She's not shady in The Best Man.
You mean with the dude that she swore they're just friends?
I'm
and
moving
then
on
he's
to the
with-
next
and he's
email.
with the
We got
girlfriend
another
that
email.
That he's about.
We
to
got
go
another
to,
email,
and she
Vince.
showed- you
We got
remember-
one last-
Hey, Lynn, you remember she showed
we got
up in
one last
lingerie?
email. I
You
don't hear
remember
you.
that scene?
We got one last email.
Okay, all right.
We got one last email. This is from Ian Needham.
Hey, what's up, Ian?
Greetings, brothers. My wife and I are both longtime fans of the pod. We never miss an episode. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I recently launched a project that's primarily about expanding the soul food canon.
Oh, okay.
How about that?
All right.
But the related podcast is exploring the idea of Black canons generally and how they are defined and spread. I'd be honored if one or both of you, well, you can't have one without the other, would consider coming on the pod to discuss how you approach the Black film canon. Oh, nice.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that invitation.
We will definitely be in touch.
I'm interested in this, the whole idea of the soul food canon. So like what's the, the essence, is that the essential soul foods?
Dishes, yeah.
So I guess it's like fried chicken,
Sure.
mac and cheese.
I mean, mac and cheese, like it's so funny. There's a the Sable Collective. Shout out to the Sable Collective. Is a Black woman owned boutique here in Philadelphia, and every year they have that sweatshirt that says macaroni and cheese is the star of dinner. Like, I'm here for the macaroni, and it sells out every year because it's so true.
It is very much fun.
So it's macaroni and cheese, collard greens.
Gotta have collard greens.
Gotta have collard greens.
Cornbread.
Cornbread. Do enjoy the cornbread.
Yes. Here you go. Yeah. Ooh. Building the soul food canon.
Building the soul food canon.
We want to come on that episode.
I know.
And can we sample some?
Yeah, but absolutely. We'll be in touch.
All right. Well, thank you, Ian. And thank you, everyone, for your emails. If you want to have your thoughts heard here on the show, please feel free. Send us an email at micheauxmission@gmail.com. That's micheauxmission@gmail.com. Speaking of foods, Vincent, let me give a shout out right here on air. As I mentioned, I had a get together that you were came to with your lovely wife.
I did.
And your wife baked some chocolate chip cookies.
Yes, she did.
For the event.
She did.
And they were a hit.
Yeah.
They quickly evaporated.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Delicious.
Yeah. I don't really mess with Wendy in the cookies. Like she only makes them once a year usually, and actually we like nuts in ours. Like we don't. She doesn't make them,
like the
like pecans and yeah, and she doesn't like give them because people have nut allergies.
Mm-hmm.
But with the pecans in them, in our house we call them crack cookies.
Y'all just be hitting them,
right? So it's like we really had to have like a family meeting. It's like, okay, the holidays, you make these cookies,
and that's it.
So
when she makes them for the holidays, like how many is she making at a time?
Just
because it's got to get through the holidays.
Just
until they're gone.
Dozens upon dozens.
So she's constantly just making them.
It's the crack cookies, and then she makes these cheesecake cookies, and it's just
cheesecake cookies.
Yes, it's a lot.
I'm drooling.
I know.
You know me and cheesecake, man.
I know.
All right. Well, Vincent's house for New Year.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's our emails.
All right.
And it is now. We started late tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to cut things a little here, do things a little differently. So instead of going to the top 5, we are going straight to the Game of Kings.
Game of Kings.
Which would be 6 Degrees of D'Urville Martin.
Right.
Six Degrees of D'Urville Martin, where I have 2 actors. I present them to Vincent, and he has 6 films or less to connect each actor to D'Urville Martin. That sexy, suave, swinging soul brother of 70s blaxploitation films that you all know and love.
It is. It is.
Vincent, we're going to keep this in theme.
Okay.
All right. We are going to be reviewing with Darren Wallace Bacurau later tonight. That stars one Sonia Braga.
Yes, it does.
Sonia Braga.
Yes, it does.
Is the first actor that you have 6 movies or less to connect.
And I thought I might have her.
D'Urville Martin.
Right. The funny thing is, before I did the research, I would have spent 5 minutes going back and forth with you until you actually looked it up, connecting her to Predator 2. Because I oftentimes get her mixed up with Maria Conchita Alonso. But she was not in Predator 2.
No, she was not.
However, D'Urville Martin was in Sheba Baby
with
Pam Grier.
Yes.
Pam Grier was in Jackie Brown.
She was.
With Samuel Jackson.
Yes.
Samuel Jackson was in Pulp Fiction.
With
Quentin Tarantino.
Yes.
Who was in Dusk Till Dawn.
Yes.
With Sonia Braga.
Ooh, was she in Dusk Till Dawn? I think she was.
She was. And it's not that impressive. I literally looked it up 3 hours ago.
Whoa.
She's in Dusk Till Dawn and Dusk Till Dawn 3. I don't know if she was in Dusk Till Dawn 2, but
she is in from Dusk Till Dawn 3.
You gotta scroll all the way down to the bottom of the call list.
I'm not seeing that she was in From Dusk Till Dawn.
Okay, she was in Dusk Till Dawn 3.
Well, Quentin Tarantino is not in From Dusk Till Dawn 3 because he died in 1.
Okay, then Quentin Tarantino is in it with what's my girl's name? I just forgot my girl's name.
I don't know what girl you're talking about.
Oh, girl. Salma Hayek.
Salma Hayek.
And then Salma Hayek is in Dusk Till Dawn 3.
Okay.
With Sonia Braga.
All right, very good, Vincent.
There you go.
All right. Now.
I'll say, I don't know who else is. Go ahead.
You didn't connect where I thought you were going to connect to, but that's fine.
All right.
So this other person is not really connected to Bacurau, but more connected to Sonia Braga.
Okay.
So in 6 films or less.
Because you thought, where did you think I was going with Sonia Braga? Like Kiss of the Spider Woman? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
So in 6 films or less, connect D'Urville Martin to Christina Ricci. How
does Christina Ricci connect to Kiss of the Spider Woman?
I'll tell you after you break her down.
I'm not going. Is she is she in Edward Scissorhands?
No, that's Winona Ryder.
That's Winona Ryder. All right. Well, Christina Ricci, it's same thing. Pam Grier, Samuel Jackson. He's in Black Snake Moan with Christina Ricci.
I forgot she was in that movie. Damn it. Very good, Vincent.
Did you see Black Snake?
I did.
It's not bad.
It's not a bad movie at all.
Like they kind of build it.
I forgot about that movie.
Right. Like they build it as this sort of lurid.
Yeah.
But
it's not.
It's actually not a bad movie.
It's like an interesting case study a little bit.
It really is.
You know what I mean?
It really is.
It is. Yeah. It's good. Yeah. No, Christina, thinking that you were going to go to Kiss of the Spider Woman, which would have got you Raul Julia.
Right.
And then I didn't want to do Raul Julia
because that's the Addams Family.
Right. So then I went
to Christina Ricci. All right.
So I was thinking that's how you were going to go.
And what is that like? Is that John Hurt too?
In
Kiss the Spider Woman?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that movie in forever. No, it's not John Hurt. You think it's William Hurt.
William Hurt. Yeah.
William Hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen that in forever, man.
Me either.
Yeah. All right, very good, Vincent.
Sonia Braga was a problem in the 80s.
She was. But she actually looking at her
Like, she's
filmography.
so good in this because it's like completely against the type that you think of with Sonia Braga.
But looking at her filmography, though,
Mm-hmm.
you know, as much of a problem as she was, she, you know, definitely dipped from doing films for her people
Mm-hmm.
and for Hollywood. You know, so she kept feet in both doors. So,
Right, right.
and you gotta respect that.
Right. Like I've
a game you gotta
kinda-
play.
Like you see her, like Salma Hayek. Like I like Salma
Salma Hayek.
but Salma Hayek is like almost a polished version of Sonia Braga, because like Sonia Braga was actually like her sexuality. With this kind of commentary, I've never found her particularly attractive.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
you know, I
have.
know that was part of her deal,
Mhm.
but I was just always, I don't really see that part. But I didn't mind because she's a really good actress.
Okay.
Whereas again, Selma Hayek and Sonia Braga, like they were a problem.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
all right,
What were they, Vincent?
a problem,
Okay.
like distracting.
I see.
Remember Sonia Braga played Theo's teacher?
Yes.
Yeah, and then took her hair down.
Yes.
It's like, all right, but all right, there you go.
You finished being distracted?
I am.
Okay. All right. Well, with that, it is now time for us to go straight into our review with Darren Wallace of Push Black's Black History Year of Bacurau. I just like saying Bacurau.
It's very fancy.
It sounds like a monster on Ultraman.
I was going to say it makes me think of what is it, Baccarat?
Baccarat.
Isn't that the casino game that like they're always playing in the casino like James Bond movies?
Is that what it's called, Baccarat? Yeah, I know what
I might
it.
not be pronouncing it right.
They put the dice on like a chute.
And I don't really understand the rules.
Me neither.
I just know it's always dudes with tuxedos.
I know.
Standing around playing.
Yes, I don't understand it either.
And then like the dude like calls out words.
Me neither.
Tangerine, orange. It's like, oh, I guess that's good.
We have to stop talking because Dylan has to take a break.
Sure. All right.
So that Darren can come in and sit down
Okay.
and just magically appear in the seat.
Right.
You know, it's the power of
Right.
you know, podcasting live.
All right.
So we're going to take a pause so that he can put a picture up,
Right.
and then Darren can magically appear here on the screen.
Perfect.
Don't touch that dial. Bacurau, a 2019 weird Western film. That is exactly what Wikipedia says. A weird Western film written and directed by Kleber Mendoza Fijo. Excuse me if I'm mispronouncing the name. The film, a co-production between Brazil and France, revolves around Bacurau, a fictional small town in the Brazilian Sertão that is beset by strange happenings following the death of its matriarch, Carmelita, at the age of 94. This film is... it is just almost like a fever dream of a movie. That's all I can say. And it is brought to the mission by our very special guest. You probably know his voice as the host of Push Black's Black History Year podcast, which will soon be debuting its 10th season of exploring the history that you did not learn in school. Put your hands together, missionaries, for my friend, Darren Wallace.
All right. Welcome.
What's up,
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you,
for being
Lynn.
here.
No, thank y'all. Thank y'all. It's been a pleasure just listening to y'all. So appreciate being here. Appreciate y'all checking out Bacurau. Super, super curious to hear some thoughts on that.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
I don't even know where to begin.
Well, before we get into that,
Okay.
before we touch on that, let's talk about like you for a little bit.
Copy that.
You know, so like you're not only the host of the Black History Year podcast, which is a phenomenal podcast. You know, I mean,
produced.
It's
Produced, yes.
maybe the best produced podcast in America.
Sure. It's
Yeah.
kind of neck and neck with this one.
You know what? I would
neck and
say
neck.
that it's funny how things work out that
neck and
way.
neck with this one.
But you're also, from what I understand, reading in your bio, that you're the chief content strategist for Push Black.
Yeah.
What does that mean? What?
You know, I'm still learning. We're still working on the job description. But essentially, I think through something called narrative influence or narrative impact. So at Push Black, you know, we tell stories on Black history that's empowering, but also targeting just some of the more dehumanizing aspects of our experience. But as a content strategist, my main role is really to think through what sort of kind of ideologies, behaviors, ways of thinking, ways of being we want our audience to adopt.
Right.
And, you know, our political line at Push Black, really, it's related to the film today, really hovers around this notion of decoloniality. How do we decolonize all the stuff that's still with us today?
Yeah.
So me as a content strategist is really just thinking through, okay, whether it's written, audio, or video, it's like, how might we pursue the most impact with our particular audience in terms of just shifting certain mindsets, shifting certain ways of understanding our world. So yeah, that's it at a pretty much high level, if that makes sense.
But no, that's cool. But that's it on a high level. But where do you come in? Well, it's like, is that always been your perspective? This need to be, you know, step away from colonialism?
Oh my gosh. Ooh wee. We're about to get pretty deep.
Not too deep. It's 8:43.
Copy that. So I do this in like 2 minutes. No, fam. That trajectory really began for me with Katrina. So,
Oh, really?
yeah.
That's right. Because you're from the
Because
area,
you're a
right?
Louisiana native?
Yeah, born and raised. Spent about half my life in New Orleans, and I started undergrad at Xavier University of Louisiana.
Okay. Love
Two-
Xavier.
Oh, you know about
My
Xavier.
daughter almost went to Xavier.
Okay. Sorry to hear that.
Hey, look, Xavier makes black doctors from what I hear.
Yes, yeah. So, yeah, most of the time they do. Yes. But I started undergrad 2 weeks before Katrina hit.
Wow.
Yeah, 2 weeks. And I'm a completely different person than who I was right before that storm hit southern Louisiana.
Really?
The whole Gulf Coast. Oh, by far. Back then, man, Lynn, you wouldn't recognize me. Back then, I was actually more of a jock. The only reason why I went to Xavier, because, you know, it's like super expensive. I had a cross-country and track scholarship.
Okay.
Yeah, and I actually thought I wanted to go to the Olympics.
Wow.
Long distance, yeah. Katrina hit, couldn't race for like a year and a half, and I had to figure some other things out. I was fortunate, though, because Xavier is very peculiar because it's the only HBCU that's also like historically Catholic
Yeah.
in the Western Hemisphere. Like, that doesn't exist on this side too much. And at Xavier, they make everyone study something called liberation theology. And that's where some of the beginnings of some of the language, ways of thinking about colonialism, understanding how it still impacts us today, shapes us today on the infrastructural level, individual level, everything. That's where that journey began for me.
Was there one thing that you studied, one particular like nugget that was like, was the light bulb in your head? And you made you just say, ooh.
Okay. I can't say it was one thing, but if I had to deduce it down to one thing, I would say Black liberation theology, because around that time, I wasn't that interested in theology whatsoever, certainly not religious. However, it was able to reframe just the Christian gospel to make it more in alignment with where myself and where Black communities were during that time, post-Katrina. Where I was able to understand Christianity as being a champion for the oppressed, downtrodden. And it got pretty radical too. Some of the things that we would read, it actually comes out of the context of the film that we kind of watch for today. There were priests who would endorse like insurrectionary violence, as a expression of Christ-like love.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's what really transformed me. I was like, oh my God, I never was able to kind of make those connections before. So that's where I would trace it back to.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, we appreciate you coming,
Absolutely,
taking the time.
and bringing this film.
Thank you.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for teaching me how to pronounce the film. I appreciate that because I was calling it background for a minute, and it's like that doesn't sound right.
It's not even a D in the word.
You went to the D. I put a G in there. you went to the
Just pulling letters out of a bag.
I'm a Scrabble guy, but so with that being said, when were you first introduced to this film?
Man,
It came out 2019.
Yeah, it came out in 2019. I was not aware of it at all until 2022. So I'm also, for now, a PhD student at UC Santa Cruz studying film and digital media, and they have brilliant cohort of students that they bring in from all around the world. One of my classmates she's from Morocco, Yasmin bin Abdullah, very much interested in decolonizing the archives. And she knew I was interested in like decolonizing just filmmaking practices, the way that we understand storytelling in the West. And she asked me like, hey, you ever seen Bacurau? I was like, no, what are you talking about? She's like, no, you should really check this out. I'm curious to see what you think about it. And I put it on one evening. It would have been February 2022. And oh my gosh. Let me just share this one little personal bit.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I don't know if y'all recall the music that opens the film. You remember that note? Okay. Fam, it was so serendipitous. When that film came on and that particular track played, right after I left Xavier and I moved to Chicago, I actually started a film collective called Kinfolk Collective. And you're actually familiar with one of the founders, Lynn. Me and him vibe very, very closely. And we really want to think of an audio signature for our collective. And we came across this one song. It was mixed together, part of like Mad Libs, long DJ mixes, things of that nature.
Oh, yeah.
And we're like, oh my God, what is this? And we fell in love with that song. So much so that the other founder of Kinfolk actually had that song played at his wedding, like an acoustic version of it.
Wow.
Deep. And that would have been like 2016, right? So this film comes on, first song that plays. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? Let me sit up. What's going on here, And man, I can't recall too many film viewing experiences where my jaw just kept lowering, It's just like, and you read the little Wikipedia description, it's like, all right.
It's nothing.
No, bro.
Nothing like it.
No. Can you even write a description for a film like this? That does it justice?
No, that does it justice.
No.
It doesn't maybe give it away or anything like that. No, not at all. Not at all. So, what did you think of the film? Because the story of the film is amazing. It's a film that starts off, you think you're just, going to be in this small town in Brazil. And it's like, oh, I'm going to learn about the people in this town.
Right.
These are the people in my neighborhood. Even though it's a little weird because it's not often that you see a truck full of coffins involved in a car accident.
Right. And how normalized the coffins are. which to your point, kind of connecting it to the diaspora, connecting it to the experiences that we have. We're old enough, like, kind of going through the crack era where just sort of death was just so normalized in our communities.
Yeah.
I thought immediately from that, like you said, okay, well, there's something going on with these coffins. The fact that everyone is so
nonchalant
and comfortable. And when we deliver supplies, well, we have books, we have medicine, we have coffins, we have clothes, we have, and it's like, oh, so this is just part of the supplies.
Yeah. I'm very curious though, beyond the coffins, was there a particular moment where you felt like, wait a minute, this is totally not what I'm expecting? Was there, because for me, it was like almost scene after scene,
right?
Like literally.
Well, it's. I think it's appropriate you were talking about different approaches to narrative, and reading a little bit about the film, and kind of knowing how the plot's going to unfold. The aspect that spoke to me the most was the pace. And you see, this is a film, and we talk about this a lot, how long these films are. There's a film that's an hour and a half. It's a film that's 2 hours. And this film is 2+ hours. And I really admired how so much time was spent showing life in this place. Like, this is not just... it's almost like, it's almost like in a way almost metatextual. Like you go into these things as viewers, and I have to tell you, this is a film that I never would have chosen, and Lynn probably wouldn't have chosen. We've said it over the years. We know who we are, so we're very hesitant to speak to films from other parts of the diaspora, just because, frankly, I'll speak for myself and not Lynn. I don't know if I necessarily have the language all the time to respect it the way it's supposed to be respected. So, I'll watch Black Orpheus, but I would never sit here and say, this is what you need to know about Black Orpheus. Just because I don't understand, Brazil like that. And I think oftentimes as Western audiences, when we see these locales, it's almost like this Orientalism, where it's like, okay, it's these weird foreign people, and it's got the music, and they're probably eating something spicy, and you're waiting for the plot to come in. Like, this is just the setting for the plot. Like, we're going to have a riff on the most dangerous game. Like, that's coming. So, but I like that the film, and I don't even want to use the word leisurely, because I think that implies a certain point of view saying that this is leisurely. But I like how it was so much space that by the time this most dangerous game plot starts with them hunting people, you're invested. You're invested, and you're as outraged as they are.
Right.
That, how dare,
just like you said, you're waiting for, kind of like waiting for that plot, but in waiting for that plot and in taking in all of the, domesticity that is happening there and in this town, so much so that you become a fly on the wall, not of just the kitchen, not of just the side of the house. You're a fly on the wall in the bathroom, in the shower, right? I'm like, whoa, okay, okay.
Talk about, yes.
Yo, there is all right. Hello, sir. Right. Hello.
Oh my God.
But you know what? But I loved it because it was not sexualized. Like, there's nudity galore in this film.
I mean, there's sex.
There's sex in it, but
it's not lurid.
None of it is lurid. None of it is gratuitous in any way. It just feels matter of fact.
It's life.
But in that matter of factness, in that life going on, because you've already been set up by the coffins early on, and then you've been slowly catching on to things. The town is all of a sudden not appearing on the map. And all of a sudden, like, you know, there's no signal. What kind of makes sense that this town is out in nowhere, there's no signal, but, you know, T-Mobile will find a way. They'll, if you got the phone, y'all had a signal, and now all of a sudden there ain't no signal. So it's so much as you're living life and you're catching like different vibes. I think the brilliant thing about this movie is that without naming everyone, you get a sense of who everyone is, and they still feel authentic, even if you're not like right in their world. You know, their authenticity is worn on their sleeve. Now that is because in part, a lot of these people are actually just people that lived in the town as well, smartly cast in this film.
Sure.
But I think in that life being lived, you start feeling the tension because you're like, well, something's coming. And I love that it's not muted colors, but it definitely has that, you know, the Western vibe, you know, the landscapes, you know, there's little bits of dust everywhere. There's, you know, just prairie dogs running around. And the tension, it comes in the form of these two wildly technicolored motorcycles just riding into this place. And you're like, okay, now it begins. And you are, and even them talking about like this almost like folk hero that they won't turn in, like Lunga. And you're like, Lunga? Who's Lunga? And you're expecting him to be like this, you know, like almost like otherworldly character. And it's just like Darren comes walking onto the film. like, I'm Lunga. I'm like, what the hell?
This is who we wearing it from?
Oh no, Darren might be able to do damage with a machete.
Hey.
Yeah.
Man, that always does take me aback, now that you mention it. Just like the violence, even though I don't feel as gratuitous, every moment does feel intentional.
Oh, yes. Yes.
But it does shock me, though. Particularly the last third of the film, once the dangerous game really ramps up, they trying to invade that town. My God. One thing I want to say really quickly, though, Vincent, I love how you mentioned the pace. Lynn, I love how you mentioned just the place making that takes place for like the first half of the film. I could just sit with that for so long. I almost didn't even need a plot. I was just like,
you don't need the plot.
Yeah.
It's just like, man, we're just with these folks.
You just want to go back to that town.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel like this exotic, you know. And I think part of that has to do with I don't know if this came up for y'all while watching it, but just like the Black history of Brazil, you know, thinking about Bahia, the Colombos, kind of maroonage towns that were created after colonialism, all that is kind of stirred in the pot here. And I just appreciate just being able to watch a different vision of what life could be, what a village could be,
what family could be, what community is, community is. Because there's a beautiful moment in this film, and Sonia Braga is definitely the biggest name in this film.
Sure.
But so by virtue of that, she's kind of like the star of the film. But in no way is she like overpowering in the film. She's basically like just
she's quite generous, actually.
Very, very generous. But there's a scene where, you know, the matriarch Carmelita, the film opens with her funeral, which is this beautiful, just, you know, just people just there in her home, you know, because of what she meant to them. You know, they're sharing stories, they're sharing food, they're sharing love as she is sitting in the bed, you know, ready for her final, you know, walk with the town. And Sonia Braga's character, Dominguez, I believe, or the Dr. Dominguez, she was friends with Carmelita, but for one reason or another, she's angry. She's upset. She's a little drunk, she admits, but she's angry, upset. And the film gives room for her to voice her anger, and everybody accepts it because they know where it's coming from. And then it moves on.
Right.
And then the film, without missing a beat later, finds a moment for everyone to to accept her apology for her performance, for her behavior. And they're like, okay, and we're going to move on, because that's what family and community does.
Exactly.
It was a real beautiful moment on that film.
Absolutely. One piece I really, really want to lift up. I'm curious how this landed with y'all. And Vincent, thinking back to what you mentioned around pacing, the way in which this film navigates so many different genres, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. You mentioned Afrofuturism earlier. Absolutely. A Western. Bit of horror in there as well.
Almost definitely.
Yeah.
Oh my God. One of the most horrific moments for me, and there are a few, certainly the murder of a few of the countryside folks. But also the assassins, right? I learned in the script. So the bikers.
Yes.
Right? In the script, apparently they're only named as foreigners. They don't have names in the script.
Right.
Very, very interesting. But that moment where they sit down with the kind of larger group of mercenaries and they say, oh, yeah,
The Americans.
Yeah, the Americans, right? And just oh my God, it feels like the film really slows down.
It is speaking of genre and all the different aspects to it. It's such a tense moment where the two assassins are realizing they're standing with these people, which I think when you read about it, people talk about it as sort of a piece of radical text and it's political and I think it is, but this is such a pointed and charged moment where they're discussing whiteness.
Yes.
And what they're really discussing is power.
Exactly.
And who gets to sit where. And it is, unfortunately, as people are learning 8 days into this new world, that you sort of signing up for this white adjacency. Like I'm going to be white adjacent and that's going to be my plan. And whoever would have thought the leopards would eat my face. And you see it happening at this table. And the thing that I love about the scene is that these two, these two Brazilians, these two people who are part of the diaspora, these two people who are down there who are trying so hard to run from it, you can see on their faces towards the inevitable that they start to figure out because they're, like what they should have been drawn from all along, they draw from too late. And then when they get murdered, then that's the scene. But that's probably my favorite scene in the movie.
Yeah.
It's that whole conversation about who's white, who gets to be white, can you pass for white? And then when it lands on, you don't have a you don't have a headphone telling you that you can get points for killing them. So
it's chilling. I was really seriously curious. Can y'all think of any other scenes like that in American cinema, at least, where whiteness is kind of discussed that explicitly? It's tough to call to mind. Honestly, right after that scene, I was like, I don't see how a film like this could ever get made on these shores.
Right, absolutely.
Honestly, or at least even released.
I can't think of a scene where whiteness is talked as bluntly as it is in that scene. And I too, like you, Vincent, definitely was watching that scene and was immedately put into the space of where we are today.
Right.
Because that is what we are seeing happening in real time. I had part of that happen this weekend, but that's on another story. But but what I also took from that scene, and I think that may be my favorite scene of this movie as well. I loved that in that there was an economy of words. And what I mean by that is because the tension was all there.
Yeah,
it was all there, and you could feel it. You could feel it ratcheting up, and you could feel it just like just feeling like a knot. Like, yo, this and y'all don't see what I see? Because they coming for y'all. The worm's about to turn, right? But as I'm watching that, I'm also thinking about the work of, keeping it in film, Quentin Tarantino.
Absolutely.
And I'm thinking of specifically his one of his more famous scenes from Inglourious Bastards, where the guy comes and sits at the guy's table while the Jews are underneath the floorboard, and that is a phenomenal scene. But Quentin Tarantino loves this scene, but Quentin Tarantino loves himself so much that scene goes on probably a little bit too long. And with this one, it was just right. It was just enough, and therefore the violence is all that much more visceral and coming out of the blue, and that harder hitting, especially because in that flurry of violence, it's like boom, 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 and then right after that, you see exactly what power is when all those white people are laughing in that moment,
right?
And they're just counting their points.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, powerful moments. Yes. Woo. Yeah.
I thought it was important how much resources were a part of the narrative. Like when the film starts, what they really, what struck me as much as the coffins was the role of water.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And how much we talk about the rebels but this is really about water, and who does and does not have access to the water, and it really talking about this sort of being a almost a post-colonial text, like this parallel between we're going to use you for this blood sport. This place we don't acknowledge enough that we can literally remove it from the map. And this is about resources. Like all of this tied up together. I just thought it was really, really smart to show the viewer that all of these things are connected.
Absolutely. On the water piece, as you mentioned it, I don't know if y'all recall this one moment in the intro, right after Carmelita's kind of burial ceremony. And I don't want to say I'm still trying to figure out what this means. I just prefer to kind of let it ride. But the use of psychotropic drugs.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
It's interesting. I don't know where to place that. But as you were speaking, Vince, I'm like, the moment where water bubbles out of that coffin, it's just like two perfect symbols of like life and death. Water and a coffin. And combining those gives us such a beautiful, surrealist moment. Never explained.
No.
Whatsoever. Just like, oh, okay, that just happened. All right.
No.
Yeah.
But that's the beautiful part about this film. It can be at the same time grounded in the reality of the situation, but still has the space for more surreal, fanciful moments like that. Just the whole idea of like when the young girl comes back to the town, and old dude just pops the drug in her mouth, just like hello, like this is what we do here. Right. I'm like, what are we doing? I was like, and that doesn't really get explained until like 2 hours later. When you see everybody's like popping their Popeyes. I'm like, yo, what's going on here, man? I'm like, and the whole time, like this mystery of the museum of the town, I'm waiting, and you watch so many of these stories, you watch so many American stories. I'm waiting for that. They're all ghosts. They're all,
like a third of the way down in my notes, I said, maybe they're ghosts. Maybe they're ghosts. Let's see.
I'm just waiting. I'm waiting like you go to the museum. It's like, there she is. She's on the picture. 1794. Right. I'm just waiting. And it's like, nope. I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
But to your point about the water coming out of the coffin, it's the way we've been trained and
Yes.
brainwashed.
Yes.
Like, we have to figure everything out. Like, everything has to have an answer because otherwise it's not important.
And you know what? I was curious, and I wasn't able to find this out, but I was curious because this film is from 2019, right? And I think so many of the storytellers, directors, creatives of the last, let's say the 21st century, since 2000, so many of them, I think, have been influenced by American movie making, American storytelling, but I think there's also a blend of more international storytelling. And the first one that came to my mind when I was watching this was manga, and how manga plays with time sometimes in real time, and just ask you, the reader or the watcher, whether or not if it's an anime, to, stay with us. Trust the audience that they are going to catch the clues that we give you that allow you to follow the story, which allows you to be more imaginative in your storytelling, which allows you to be more daring in the stories that you want to tell. Right. Because at its heart, this story, it's pretty lean, it's like you said, it's
right.
The deadliest
plot starts,
right. But the storytelling of it, the surrealistic aspects of it, the cinematography, it's a gorgeous movie. The way that it plays its tributes to even like Hitchcock in some of the scenes, especially with like the kids with the flashlights, I mean,
so good.
It is so good, man. Like, but the way it plays with that, and plays with the way that there are not a whole lot of close-ups. There's some like long shots there. It really just had me in a manga state of mind as I was watching this, man. I really enjoyed that aspect of it.
Absolutely. There were so many moments, especially the ones that are centered around like the actual village of Bacurau, where again, we're just seeing people live. I can't recall exactly when this beat occurred, but the woman that comes back to town, and I believe her father, they're doing capoeira.
Yeah.
Yes. Doing capoeira. I was like, all right, man, let's do this.
Yes.
Like, oh, okay. This is not.
That was at the funeral.
Yeah, at the funeral. It's not
funeral.
like they're doing this in order for someone to have a cathartic moment that then leads to this point. No, they're just living. That, and then coupled with, all right, this may be a bit of a stretch, but the use of the DJ. If we can call him a DJ, reminds me of almost like Spike's Senior Love Daddy and Do the Right Thing, almost.
Very much so.
Yeah.
The chorus.
Yeah, I was about to say he's a Greek chorus.
It's a Greek chorus. Yeah. I definitely felt that. Actually, I actually felt his loss a little bit in the film. Like there were a couple of moments where I was kind of like looking for him to add a little bit or like, walk me through it a little.
Well, the capoeira in particular, when you think about the history of capoeira, that's when I said as the viewer, oh yeah, this is where they messed up. Because they thought these are simple village folk,
that's a
but
good
they
point.
don't understand it's about to go down.
You know what? I didn't even think about it from that.
It's resistant.
It's interesting you say that because I saw the capoeira and that's where I think for the most part, because part of this dialogue is this a black film? I thought that's where I saw the blackness in there.
100%.
But it did immediately take me to the documentary Rise that we saw about the the crumping and stuff like that. And what as I'm watching it, I'm like, okay, but yeah, because it's at a funeral, they're being a little bit more smoother with it and a little bit more solemn. But you're right, it actually is those same movements.
This is a martial art.
And it is the same
developed on a slave ship.
Yeah, and these weren't young people doing this.
Exactly.
These were the elders.
Which means that this is a part of this community.
Exactly.
Because if the elder can do it, that 20-year-old cat can really do it.
Yeah. So I like that.
And to an outsider, it looks like they're just dancing.
It looks like they're just
so you don't
dancing
actually
in revelry,
understand, right?
Because it's at the funeral. You're not really peeping it. You're also, you had the Greek chorus of the DJ. You also had, I called him Carlos Santana's father.
Yeah.
Mocking the back of the people. I was like, yo, this is ridiculous. Like, I love that. I loved it, man. I loved it.
I do have to say, when you said the violence was striking, maybe it's just the mindset that I'm in lately. By the time they came in, these outsiders, it was so disrespectful.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It was almost sacrilegious. So I was like, I was with it.
Yeah.
Like, I was with it. And we talked about the scene at the table, which is my favorite scene. My favorite moment is at the end where they're cleaning up the museum and they're washing out the blood. And the sister who, because right, I've decided it is a black film. The sister who runs the museum, there's a handprint of blood on the wall from where they've killed one of them. And she says, no, leave that. Because now that's part of the museum.
Oof. Yeah. Oof. Such a powerful moment. I thought you were about to allude to the moment in which, I guess he was in a greenhouse.
I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. It's so beautiful and how it's played, from the sound design, the pacing, the ways that it plays with your expectations. I mean, did y'all see that coming when they went to the...
Because in that moment, because what happens is, like, the Americans, and these are white Americans led by a German Nazi, they are just coming to the town because it's hunting season.
It's hunting season,
right?
Yeah.
So this elder of the town, who we've seen in and off and on.
But we haven't seen this much of them.
No, we didn't. Because my man, he comes out, woohoo, old al fresco to water the plants.
Real naked.
Yes, he was hello, and he was proud, right? But in that, as he's walking around his greenhouse and he goes into his house and they're sneaking up on him. In American films, this is the scene where he gets taken out, which then becomes the impetus for us to, like, yes, everybody else is going to take. But no.
Right. You think the rebels are going to avenge him? Like the younger cast will have to avenge him.
Yeah.
He doesn't need avenging.
He don't need no avenging. He don't need no event. He need a new door, but he don't need door because he blasts the door and somebody's face off.
Yeah.
His face is off.
They hold on that too.
Yes.
A couple of times. Isn't that interesting? The way that they even just depict death versus, like, the indigenous, because Brazilian folk versus, like, the interlopers who are coming in. Very interesting.
Well, you know what? I appreciate that because that's what you want to see. You don't want to linger.
Oftentimes you see the opposite.
Yes. Oftentimes you see the victim laying in their blood, laying, dead, but no.
And black pain has always been used for entertainment. So, you would, like you said, you would see the opposite, where it would be this graphic depiction of violence towards the older man and not the hunter.
Right.
So,
but no.
Yeah, it's an amazing film. Yeah, it's an amazing film.
Man, coming from y'all, man, that feels great. I'm glad I showed up, was able to provide something. Well, I was nervous that it may not, I want to say fit a criteria, but how might we understand this as a black film? And there are different entry points, but I was worried about that.
Well, and that's a good point, because that leads us to the question, is this a black film? You are the one that brought this to the mission. So why was this your selection as a, how do you consider it a black film?
Brilliant question, fam. Even though I know this question always comes up, still not prepared for it. Well, one, as we mentioned earlier, the history, right? So, like, Brazil had more African folks imported than any other nation in the world, right? So we have a huge black presence there. also how we mentioned some of the kind of cultural flourishes like capoeira, some of the ways that they kind of navigate ritual, use of music, just kind of felt Black. But the biggest thing for me, let me know if this is, I don't know. It's this notion of almost ontological or metaphysical Blackness, political Blackness. So yes, their Blackness in their historical lineage, in their hue, but also the way in which they're positioned to like the larger society, the larger world. When I think about what Blackness is, it's often positioned as otherwise or atavistic or this is not civilized. Here, we see them embracing that, using indigenous ways of thinking and being to kind of cohere community. And I can't put any other word on that other than Black. It's like, okay, this models for me how Blackness can transform space, cohere community. And yeah, I really do feel like every Black person should watch it. Does that make sense? This notion of like political Blackness?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely makes sense. Yeah. How about you, Vincent?
Along those same, everything you just said, I would maybe highlight the capoeira because I do think this theme of resistance runs through it, and I do think resistance is very Black. I also thought that pointed commentary on race and specifically this kind of predatory whiteness in relation to race, like this sort of, you are here as people of color, as Black people, for my entertainment, you know, for my blood sport, like I'm here to hunt you, and it's a moving target. Like I think one of the fascinating things about whiteness to me is just how unstable it is. Like, who gets to be white? How long have you been white? Like that whole conversation where the one character called him a Nazi, and he said, you know, well, I haven't been in Germany for 30 years and 40 years, and you have this back and forth. And then as we talked about with the two Brazilians who were apparently in a higher caste, like, you know, one was a judge and other, like they were, you know, so they thought that this was transferable, which, again, not to be that point, I think people frankly come to America and think that their caste status where they come from is transferable. And then America's. Yeah. So just along those lines, and then in contrast to what I see, you know, as I always see this kind of instability with whiteness, where a lot of it is in contrast to Blackness. So like, I got to be in contrast to you. Like we said, that first hour where it's barely plot, like it's almost like a mood poem where you see the beauty of this place. Yeah, absolutely. I would absolutely, yeah. I absolutely, like, this is almost, like, I would play this with, I was thinking about Daughters of the Dust.
Whoa. You know what? This would be a good double feature.
You know, where, like, the plot isn't even the thing. Like, the plot's not important at all. It's this culture.
It's the culture.
It's the experience.
Living in that spirit.
Yeah, so yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think that's an apt, would be a beautiful, like, 1-2 double feature with there. And I side with everything that you both have said. So there's only one other place for me to go in regards to whether or not this is a Black film, and I'm landing it on this. It's definitely a Black film, and that is because of the very impressive penises that are on display in this film. So
I learned many things about cast members in this film that I didn't know I was going to learn. It's 2 hours and 11 minutes later. I've learned some things.
Yes. So there you go. Put that in your Black movie canon. Bacurau.
We can show it. Here's a deep cut, Lynn. We can show it a double feature with Welcome Home, Brother Charles.
Have you ever seen Welcome Home, Brother Charles?
No, I have not, man. I have not.
Do you know of Welcome Home, Brother Charles?
No. Tell me.
Jamal Fanaka, penitentiary guy. The guy made Penitentiary. This was his maybe second film.
Yes.
Okay.
It's about a man with a deadly penis.
Deadly. Whoa.
And deadly is the word.
Okay.
Deadly.
That's going on the list.
Okay. Yes. Watch it with a friend. So, Dylan, you need to see that too. Might learn something before it's done. All right. Darren, thank you so much, man.
No,
I mean,
y'all.
I guess we have to.
Oh, we got to record.
Speaking,
we said it's the.
we said it's a black film.
Okay.
It's a lot of black. Like Soul Plane is a black film.
Oh, so you said.
I didn't.
Yeah.
All three of us have just said that every black person should see this film. You still want to go through the exercise of would we recommend it?
Have we learned nothing from this? Ritual is important.
You know what? There are times when you want to speed it up, and then there's times where you're like, ritual is.
But you got to go through. Go ahead.
Darren, would you recommend that people see Bacurau?
Yeah, absolutely. I would have it playing in Times Square. I would have it everywhere.
Oh my God.
Like for real, man. I feel like you can't watch it enough.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man.
Oh my God. I can just see this on Times Square. It's the Christmas tree. What how about you, Vincent?
I would. Absolutely. I think it is a film that I can already tell will reward second and third watches.
Oh, most definitely.
And I think you have to give yourself to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I do think you have to settle in and give yourself to it because it's not bang, bang, bang.
No.
Plot. It really is an experience, but I think it's an experience worth having.
Most certainly. 3 for 3, you should see Bacurau. Check it out. It's a great film.
It is.
I'm curious, Darren, before we get out of here, because I know you're a bit of a film scholar of your own. So as you heard, you were off listening on the side.
Yeah.
We have been tasked with building like a black film canon or a film that every black man should see.
Regardless of age.
If there's anything, I think when you came on, when before the cameras came back on, you had mentioned The Wood.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Why The Wood?
Well, when I think about a lot, at least in America, films that center black men, they can oscillate between like tragedy, gratuitous violence, and something that feels almost like a soul plane, something that's easily dismissed or overly comical. Rarely is it grounded, and specifically, rarely is it grounded in I won't say a coming of age experience, but no, for me, The Wood was really like a watershed moment for my generation. Because, we got our Boys in the Hood. Actually, the whole slew of early 90s, like, hood films. A lot of people felt like, all right, that's, like, where black men or black boys can see themselves. That was never really it's like, okay, I can see some things in there that kind of parallel or intersect with my own life. But when I think about The Wood, too often, black men on screen or just black people on screen, we can't just be.
Yeah.
We can't just live in like the everyday. And I love how it kind of revels in the minutia of that. Oh man. Yeah, I would say The Wood, but you all mentioned Moonlight, and I think that would probably be like number one. Just because the vulnerability
Exactly.
that happens there. People want to get caught up in like perceived sexuality of it, but it's like, no, being able to see us vulnerable, and because it's not intergenerational, but we follow them from like young to older and whatnot. I think that trajectory is really important to see, and that's something that happens in The Wood as well. And there's like some, I don't want to say some ripoffs of it, but like
there's been some ripoffs.
Yeah, what was it? The Brothers, y'all remember that?
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah. That's not one I would recommend for like every black man.
Right.
But The Wood is like light. And I feel like we need more of that, to be honest with you.
Another movie that just came to my mind, we reviewed it. We actually did a screening of it a couple of years ago. The Outside Story with Brian Tyree Henry.
Yeah.
That is a really
It is.
good film. it is it basically is the guy gets locked out of his house. That's really the crux of the film. But he got locked out of his house at the same time while he's dealing with the breakup of his relationship. Oh, wow. And it is it's light, but it is funny. It's drop dead funny, but it's very introspective on manhood, Black manhood, and especially in the Brian Tyree Henry, who at the time of making this, is Paperboy in Atlanta. So most people know him in a wholly different speed, and this is something totally left of it.
His eyes, man. Just as an actor, his presence. Make
no
it out tonight.
No joke. Oh yeah, you'll like that. Love it. All right. Well. Fresh Ron Covington in the chat shouts out Fresh. Fresh is a good one. We do love that.
We do.
There's tons. I guess we have to come up with a list.
And I guess we have to review all of them.
You know what? If only we had a podcast.
If only.
Where we were reviewing every Black film ever made. But we do. But Darren, I know you're about to start season 10 of Black History Year. Yeah? What's it going to be about this year?
What's it going to be about? It's going to be about legacy. Specifically, how continued elements of our troublesome past still haunts us today, but also what we've been able to develop in navigating those challenges, how that still gifts us today as well. So whether we're thinking it through particularly the arts and entertainment angle, or, evergreen mass incarceration, really tracing the colonial origins and thinking through how does this manifest to us today. So not just reveling in like all the terrible shit that's happened to Black people, but also thinking through like what if our ancestors gifted us, where that legacy is carried on today through our actions. That's very broad. We're still thinking of like very specific episode topics, but we're gonna get to everything from like, the Black family and doing genealogies there and thinking about legacies within the Black family, to, again, thinking about relationship between the death penalty and how that still haunts us today. So, yeah, we covered a pretty wide range. Yeah.
Love it.
I should ask you, producer, what are we going to do for season 10?
I don't know. I'm on the Micheaux Mission. No, but to check out Black History Year, it's available wherever you find podcasts. And you can also check it out on YouTube as well. Look up We Are Push Black on YouTube and every place. And find Darren. Cool ass host. Thank you for stopping in.
So
on the
much.
mission.
Thank y'all.
Yeah.
All right.
Y'all, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah. You got to come back with a lighter fare.
I got you.
Right.
Yeah. Take your,
Did y'all do Baby's Kids? I asked you about that.
Oh, we did do Baby Kids.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to come back with a lighter one.
Yeah, most certainly. All right, before we tell you what we're going to be reviewing next week, I invite you all to follow the Micheaux Mission on the social media of your choice at Micheaux Mission. You can also email us at micheauxmission@gmail.com, MICHEAUX MISSION. And hey, if you're liking what you're watching, then please tell a friend to subscribe to the Micheaux Mission on YouTube. Hit the bell so you can be notified of when we go live every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. regularly. And you can also be notified of when our new videos go up. The Micheaux Mission is also a podcast that is available for your streaming pleasure every Thursday, wherever you find podcasts. We're a proud member of the Podglomerate. They make podcasts work, such as ours, which will be returning next week to our regular time at 7 p.m. right here at Young Junk, Philadelphia's premier video podcast palace. If you want to book yourself some time in one of the fabulous studios here, then email our man Dylan at youngjunk.com. That's DYLAN at youngjunk.com. Dylan, they're going to be emailing you, buddy. All right. Next week, here on the Micheaux Mission, Vincent, I got a special one for you.
Okay.
We are going to be digging into the crates a little bit.
Okay.
Not too far.
We're
We're not going before the March on Washington.
Right.
All right. We're only going back to 1988.
Okay, so Black people didn't have to sit in the balcony to watch it.
No, they did not.
Okay.
They could sit up front in wherever they wanted in the theaters. This had a limited run in the theaters.
Okay.
But it featured one of the seminal stars of the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and even now in his passing.
Okay.
He's still one of the biggest stars ever. And that is Michael Jackson in Moonwalker. Yes,
I thought we did Moonwalker.
we did not do Moonwalker. We did Captain EO. We never did Moonwalker, which is a collection of shorts films starring Michael Jackson.
All right, I'm with it.
Next week,
All right.
here on the Micheaux Mission. I can see my sister like pulling up in front of the TV. She's not going to leave for a week. Until then, he's Vincent, that's Darren, and I'm Len. And in parting, we say,
We'll see you when it's time to meet again.